What's happening, guys? This is Mike at Mike's Total Dragon Channel, and today I wanted to talk about something that I see quite a bit online. People posting something to the effect of, "Hey, I found a bunch of comics. How much are these worth?" And sadly, the 9 times out of 10, what you have is worth nothing. Most of the times, it's people posting pictures of comic books that they found um, from somebody that bought a whole bunch of comic books in the 90s. You know, they bought a bunch of X-Men, a bunch of Image titles, some Ultraverse, some, Beavis and Butthead or what have you. And um, the sad fact is most of that stuff is worth nothing. Um, if you're lucky, you might get $5 for something or $10 for something. That's if you put it up online and sell it for your own. If you do your own work and sell it, you'll get that. Of course, no comic book shop will give you that kind of money because they're not going to give you a whole bunch of something, and that cuts into their profit margin. So, the reality is if you find a bunch of that stuff, your best bet is to, take it to the park, take it to the library, leave it behind. It's one of those got a book, need a book, leave a book, those little lending libraries they have. Um, and I hate to crush people's dreams, but not everything you find is, going to be Amazing Fantasy 15. The reason that most of those comic books are being found is everybody was reading comics in the 90s. There was a really big boom. People got into it thinking they were going to put their kids through college or what have you. And the comic book companies, they were selling comics that on the cover said brand new issue, collector's item, brand new number one, and they had the cover gimmicks and the foil covers and the hologram covers, and it was all just dangling Scooby snacks in front of people to get them to pick it up. And as far as it being worth something, sadly, it never turned out to be worth anything. Um, as you see, that crazy cat is up there jumping all over the place. Um, but most of the times, like I said, when I would see posts of people online saying that I found a bunch of comics, what are they worth? You got a bunch of dollar box stuff. Your best bet is, just give them away. Give them away during Halloween, or drop them off with some place where they've got books or whatever, because they're not really worth a whole bunch of money. Now, on the rare occasion that books that you find are worth something, most of those are going to be books that are from the early 80s, 70s, the 60s. That's what you want for your books that you find that you hope to be able to get rid of, to make some money off of, the books from that era, because they didn't have the what's the word I'm looking for here? They did not have the print run that the books in the 90s had, and also they're quite a bit older, which means that the condition is not going to be as much as the condition is not going to be as good as in good quality as newer books are. So if you find something like that, then there's the chance that you might have something. Um, you can tell one of the really good ways that you can tell books by what era they're from is the price tag. If you have a book that has 199, 225, 250, 299, something like that, that's going to be a book from the 90s. So that right there is going to key you in that, oh, this is a 90s book, and 9 times out of 10, this isn't going to be worth, this is, what I can use to put in my bird cage, put this down for, the bird to go on. books that are older, from the early 80s, 70s, 60s, you're looking at books that are going to have in the cover, or on the cover price is going to be $1, 65 cents, 75 cents, 35 cents. You know, that right there is going to give you your big uh, hint of what era this book is belongs in. So those are the ones that if you find, you're going to want to take a look at, take a second look at. But the other thing that really matters is, in comic books, condition is key. If you have a book and it is old, it does not automatically mean that it is worth a ton of money. If it's a rag, if it's torn up, that's something that is not going to be, regardless of whether it's old or not, it's not going to matter because it's torn all up. Just kind of like how this cat just tore up a bunch of stuff and knocked it off the shelf. Fortunately, those were just, action figures, so nothing too pressing, nothing too important. But in comic books, condition is key. You gotta have the book has to be nice for it to be worth something. So, in summary, the things that you're looking for if you find a bunch of old comics, what are the condition of the comics? Is the cover attached? Are pages still intact? Is the spine destroyed? Does it look like it's been folded up and stuck in someone's back pocket? And in addition to condition, you want to know what era it come from. What year did it come out? And also, the other big thing is, what book is it? If you have, a book that came out in, the 60s or 70s or what have you, if it's, something like Turok or some comic book that no one really cares anything about, then just because it's an older book and in good shape doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be something that people are interested in. So it comes down to a lot of factors when you find old comics as of to how much they're worth. The big ones are condition, the years that the books came out, when they were made, and what comics it is. What comics do you have? What comics did you find? By and large, people are always looking for Marvel and DC. The big two, they are what, for the most part, they are what command the most money. So when you find a bunch of old comics, they're not necessarily, sadly, they are not necessarily going to be, worth anything. And on the off chance that they are worth something, there'll be books that have to be in good condition. They have to be older books, 60s, 70s, very early 80s. And they have to be something that someone wants to spend some money on and buy. That's the big three things right there. So if you find comics and you're able to check those boxes off, then you might have something. And then you have to begin the process of, if you choose to sell those comics, then you have to begin the very arduous process of taking pictures of it, researching what books you have, and trying to get an idea of what the grade and the condition is of those comics. So it's a lot of work. So that's one thing that you have to look forward to. If you find some comics, it's not like you hit the lottery. It's not like you just scratch off a lottery ticket and all of a sudden you're sitting on little Timmy's college tuition or whatever. It does take some legwork to find out what you have, and if the off case that you do have something that commands a pretty nice price tag, then you have to go about doing the legwork and the research to see how you can maximize getting the most for your comic book, because that you can get. I always tell people you can get rid of comics fast, or you can get rid of comics for a lot of money and maximize your profit. You can't do both at the same time. Um, and if you want to maximize your profit and get as much money as possible out of what you're selling, then you'll have to do it yourself, which is like I said, a very time consuming uh, process. So, and it's a lot of hassle, but if you find something that you have and it's worth it, then, you'll take the time and energy to look it up, take tons of pictures, post tons of pictures, engage with people who are asking about it, and it's just like anything else. It's a lot of work involved in it. So on the rare case that you do find something, be prepared to put in a lot of legwork to maximize your profit. But sadly, like I said at the start of this video, most of the stuff you find is stuff that's not going to be worth anything. Just because you found a bunch of old comics doesn't mean that you hit the lottery. And I think if a lot more people realize that, they would be better off. They would definitely stop posting so much stuff. Posting the stuff that they find, thinking that they just struck oil, you know. And then the funny thing is, they'll take offense to it. They'll take offense to when you tell them that their comic books that they found aren't worth anything, because they think you're like trying to screw them over. Like I'm trying to, pull the wool over someone's eyes on a bunch of, fucking Malibu books from from 1994 or whatever, on a bunch of Ultraverse hard case. I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes and, fleece some new people or whatever. Come on. That's not even a thing. But, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and just tell you that, there are times that you'll find something good out there. You'll come across some stuff, but they are far and few between. And more often than not, there are going to be a bunch of you'll find more poo-poo than you find diamonds in the wild. So until next time, you guys take care, and we'll talk to you later, and bye-bye.